This is Mikey.
And I'm Garrison Rifen. This is Cinema Debrief. Welcome to Cinema Debrief. I'm Garrison Rifen, over here with my co-host Mikey. How are you doing tonight, Mikey?
What is up, Garrison? I am doing pretty good. I feel bad calling them streaming slop because that's not the connotation of the word slop is not fair to these. But
I think the term is quite frankly overused nowadays. But
it is.
It may be correct in this case. Go on.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, look, here's the deal. Like, we've got a bunch of streamers that exist, obviously, and they all have the movies that they want to put directly to their streaming service that do not get theatrical releases.
Yeah.
They're all generally within the 2.5 to 1.5 star range. I mean, like, none of them are ever that great. Like, and maybe that's why these studios elected not to put them in the theater. I don't know.
Yeah.
I went back to November of 2025 and saw the sequel to the Family Plan called The Family Plan 2. No interesting subtitle to it. This is the one with Mark Wahlberg and Michelle Monaghan. We find out that Dan is like a super spy, basically. And it's like there's so many movies that have this same exact, like the Family Guy or the Family Man, the dad is a super spy, or the mom's a super spy, or whatever. This one adds an interesting twist in the fact that you've got Kit Harington in it. He was not in the first one, and this is 2 years after the first one comes out. So the Morgans have kind of like their life is back to normal. We find out at the beginning of this, and I don't care if I spoil this, we find out at the beginning of this film that Dan's father, whom was like the main criminal of the first one, played by Syrian Hines, has died in jail. So we find out that off screen, we find that Syrian Hines' character, and they show a really bad looking looked like an AI picture of him. Like he wouldn't agree to like be in the movie at all. So it was a really weird looking picture of Syrian Hines. And again, I'm just going to spoil this. We have Finn, played by Kit Harington, is Dan's half brother, but he's the housekeeper's son. So this Dan's dad, Syrian Hines, has a relationship with the housekeeper from when they were kids. And this is the half brother who's bitter. He's angry that he was never treated as good as Dan was. And so you've got Kit Harington being the bad guy, which actually he was not bad. He's pretty good. Like this movie, I was not completely insulted by this movie's existence. It was one of those, like, you could sit down probably with the family during the holidays because it takes place during Christmas. And you've got like this family unit because there's a son and a daughter, Dan's son and daughter, and then you got Michelle Monaghan in the mix, and they travel to England for the holidays, and that's where Finn comes into play. And not totally insulted by the movie, not unhappy that it exists, but it was on Apple TV Plus, or I'm sorry, just Apple TV now, and this is the type of movie that they would probably never put in the theater. It's just like that Fountains of Youth movie earlier, like from last year, that Guy Ritchie directed for them, that went straight to their. I mean, they're all the same. I'll go through these last three quicker because these are actually new releases. These last three that I watched, these actually came out within the last 2 weeks. First one being Pizza Movie with Gaten Matarazzo, or however you say it, from or is it Galen? Is it Gate? No, it's Gaten, from Stranger Things. So he's the star of Pizza Movie. And it's a stoner comedy. We don't have many stoner comedies anymore. That's not something that we see much of, but it was weird seeing Gaten in a rated R stoner comedy. Basically, he plays as you would think he would, because he's unfortunately a bit typecast. I think he kind of plays the loser, the kid that gets picked on all the time. It's taking place during college. They're college aged, all the characters in this, and they find this drug that has fallen out of their ceiling, that the previous person that stayed in that room had created this drug. And so an adventure ensues involving this drug and how they're on this drug, and all this craziness is happening. I was kind of interested in it because these directors got interviewed by Kevin McCarthy this week.
Okay.
And so I was kind of interested because they sounded like really, really smart guys. Like they've been in and around comedy for a really long time. Their names, if you're wanting to look it up, is Nick Kotcher and Brian McElhaney. They go by Bryanak. Yeah, Bryanak.
Yes, I've seen that on the social media. Yeah.
Yeah. So they had a YouTube channel at one point.
Britannic.
Oh, Britannic. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So they had a YouTube channel at one point. They wrote for SNL for a couple seasons. So they've been in and around comedy for a while. They've got a pretty big movie coming out that they wrote that's called Over Your Dead Body, coming out in a couple months, I believe. Well, no, coming out at the end of this month. I don't have that on my calendar.
Oh, yeah. Starring, what's her name?
Yeah,
and,
Samara
and
Weaving.
Siegel.
Yeah, Jason Segel, Samara Weaving. They wrote the film, and the guy from Lonely Islands, Jorma, is directing the film.
Okay, interesting.
So, and I didn't realize that it's a remake of a
foreign film
that is pretty popular, apparently. So these guys,
Danish or Swedish or something.
Yeah, something like that. These guys have gotten they're sort of popular right now for writing pretty good screenplays. I won't say this movie was like amazing, and I can see why Disney, in this case, they put it under the Hulu banner. I can see why they probably didn't want to release it as a 20th Century Fox. You think this is a little different than Mike and Nick and Alice? I think so. I think Mike and Nick and Alice would have done well in theaters because there would have been word of mouth that would have helped that. Pizza movie, even though you've got sort of, and you're coming off of the end of season 5 of Stranger Things, even though you've got Gaten in it, he's kind of the only person that I recognize. I guess his buddy in the movie, I may recognize him a little bit, like has been in some dumb comedies, and he's got sort of a weird voice, and so it's a very comedic sounding whiny voice, and so I don't know. The other movie that I saw, this one was direct to Apple TV, and it's called Outcome. I don't like this movie at all.
I've been seeing the talk on social media for this one. It's 76 minutes, right? That's what I read.
It's short. Yeah, it's an hour and 23 minutes. Yeah.
That's
it's really short.
Okay, so 83 minutes. Okay.
Yeah, it's really short though. All 4 of these movies are pretty short. Jonah Hill, the big deal with this is Jonah Hill wrote and directed it.
And it stars
Keanu.
Yeah.
Keanu and Cameron Diaz also, because she's kind of back. Like she's kind of back. Cameron Diaz, Matt Bomer, who I actually kind of liked in this. I mean, he's really funny in it, I guess. Unfortunately, Van Jones makes an appearance in it. Jonah is also in it. He plays Keanu's agent, Ira. So he's very much stereotypical Hollywood agent in this. And Keanu plays a character called Reef Hawk, who we find at the beginning of the film has been sober. He was like going through addicted to heroin, and he's just now been sober. His 2 best friends, Kyle Applebaum, played by Cameron Diaz, and Xander Alexander. The names in this are really weird. Matt Bomer. So these are like his 2, and they've known Hawk since high school. So they've been like friends with Keanu. So it's an interesting film. It's kind of a bit of a takedown on the narcissism of being an actor.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to have like a commentary about that throughout. It's it's just a strange movie though. The way it's shot is really weird. The colors are off. They're really bright in weird ways, and I don't know. The other weird thing about it is Martin Scorsese has a role in it. He plays a talent agent for kid actors, and he's the one that found Reef Hawk when he was a kid. So Reef Hawk's been a child actor, just like, I mean, not that Keanu was a child actor, but he's been acting for a really long time. I mean, I would venture to say probably when he was 16 or 17, he sort of hit the scene. I mean, he's been around a long time. And so, yeah, you've got basically it's one of those type of films where he's trying to make amends with all the people who he did wrong. And so you're going from set piece to set piece of him talking to different people. And it's just an interesting film. I don't know. I don't know what more to say about it. The last one I watched, and I wanted to watch this for Aussie Nate, was Thrash. This one went directly to Netflix. This is the one that's directed by Tommy Ricola. I think that's how you say his last name, who is kind of a semi-successful indie director. He did Dead Snow. He did the sequel. He's done a couple of other things. He's written some stuff. But Phoebe Devanore is the star of this. There's not really anybody else that you'll... Well, what's his name? Who's in every superhero movie? He was in Shazam. He was in... I can't remember his name. I guess I could look it up real quick.
I have to look up the cast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Hunsu.
Yeah, that guy. Demon Hansu.
Yeah.
Demon Hansu, who is often complaining about being underpaid in real life. Like he's often on social media complaining about how he's not paid enough for his work, which is fine. He's in a bunch of movies. So this is a very Aussie Nate movie in the sense that you've got a hurricane that hits the coast, and then sharks are around as well. So you've got a lot of different sharks. The screenwriter was having a lot of fun with this one because he wrote the most outlandish way for sharks to be attracted to where this hurricane had hit. I don't want to spoil it because it's brand new, just came out Friday. Or this past Friday. So I don't want to spoil it. It's really short also. It's only like an hour and
it's 86 minutes.
Yes, all these movies are so short. I mean, maybe that's a good thing because they know that people are doing other things while they're watching these movies. Netflix, I can definitely tell you that Netflix definitely knows that because Thrash is such a dumb movie, but it's kind of fun in a weird way, and because it's so outlandish, like the setup of the sharks and everything is the most outlandish thing, and it made it kind of fun. And it's actually shot well. Like Tommy Ricola, he's a good director. Like it doesn't look like it was some AI slop film or whatever. I mean, it's actually shot pretty well. So there's some good action set pieces in it. Phoebe Devanore, she's fine, I guess. But so I watched a bunch of streaming movies so you guys wouldn't have to, basically. But I do recommend Thrash. If you're going to waste your time out of the four of those, waste your time with Thrash because at least you'll have a good time.
Including maybe a movie on this episode itself.
My goodness.
Maybe just watch Thrash instead. But
yes.
Our next little segment here, I want to cover the first quarter box office 2026.
Oh yeah,
because I feel like it's important to look at the numbers of what's happening. First off, how are theaters doing, but also what movies are doing well. Because as much as people talk about, well, I care more about the art. I get that. I care more about a well-written story than I do the money it makes necessarily, but I want those movies to make money because that means studios will come out and say, hey, that makes money. Let's make more of that.
Yeah.
In certain quantities. You don't want them going overboard, but it becomes important. I'm going to share a little thing on the screen here for Mikey and myself, but for the viewers at home, I'll narrate this. I have a little spreadsheet where I've been keeping track of the month by month since the COVID pandemic began, and 2026 is off to the best start post pandemic that we've had. If you look at the first quarter numbers at the bottom of the screen, need that home, but 22 first quarter was 1.3 billion. 23 was 1.72 billion. 24 was 1.6 billion. 25 was 1.42 billion, and 26 is 1.77 billion.
Wow.
We're already at 2 billion because of Mario being a huge hit.
Well, yeah.
To bring it down just a little tiny bit, make it a little more somber. You want to look at 2014 to 2019. The average first quarter there was 2.6 billion.
Isn't that crazy? That is like so crazy to think of that many people were going to the movies at that time.
Well, and here's another trend that I want to kind of hit on. Besides, I'll also talk about the best performing movies kind of so far this year. But when you look at the amount of releases per year, in 2014, 849. The next big jump, 2018, 993 releases in theaters.
Wow.
910 in 2019. And then you get to the COVID years. 2020, of course, shut down, so 457. But then 21 is 442, 22 is 502, 23 is 592, and it's the best performing year that we've had post-pandemic so far. Except for probably this year, let's hope. 24, 677 releases, 25, 669 releases. But this year, we're only 3.5 months in. 229 releases, which puts us on a pace to hit closer to 700.
Yeah.
So you're starting to scale up a little bit, but what you're seeing is the average that a film made, like, during the 2010 era was about 13-12 million, basically. Which is, because there were so many releases.
Yeah.
During this era, the post-COVID era, 22, 14 million, 23, 15 million. That's because there's so little being released that the stuff that hits big, it's doing well. 24, 12 million, 25 was close to 13 million. This year, you're at 9.4. A huge drop off there because you're getting so many more releases again.
Yeah.
For once, because you're post-COVID now and you're post-strikes, where it's not affecting the release schedule in any way.
Right.
You're starting to see kind of consistent output. It's dropping the average, but the actual money is going up. So that's both a good and a bad thing, because you are seeing the fact that, yes, people have not fully come back to the theater like you'd want them to.
And I don't think they ever will. I mean, because we're in the midst.
They will probably never come back to the numbers that we had pre-COVID.
Yeah, because we're in the streaming era.
But it's good to know that things are going up.
Yeah,
and
slowly.
You want studios to learn the lesson of why these things are going up. Now, the top 10 movies domestically of the year so far, Super Mario Galaxy is 256 domestic, which is crazy. But that's that brand.
It is.
Project Hail Mary, 238 million. It's going to hit 300 most likely. Hopper's 154, which is really good for that brand. Hopefully it continues to go up and maybe hit 200. Scream is topped out, I think, at 121, which is, for the film and the reception
the best
that got.
Scream in a while, yeah.
It's the best Scream total taken, non inflation adjusted. Goat, 102 million. That's kind of crazy to think about that
Goat.
Film, that, like, you haven't seen a ton of advertising for it necessarily. I remember when it came out, but I'm glad to see something hit 100 million domestic. Wuthering Heights, 84 million domestic so far. But it's made its budget back because worldwide it's done pretty well.
Oh yeah.
Send Help didn't cost a ton, 64 million. Number 8, Reminders of Him, 46 million.
Colleen Hoover stands are out there.
46 million. I think that's made money because I don't think that was an expensive film.
They probably, none of those are probably. I think the one that's coming out with Anne Hathaway called Verity is probably the one that's going to have the biggest budget because it's got star power.
And I hear that it's supposed to be better than the other ones. So
I would hope so. I mean, Anne Hathaway, you would think, would not sign on to just do a typical Colleen Hoover movie.
Yeah. Iron Lung is number 9, 41 million. Markiplier, the YouTuber, spent 3 million, made 41 million.
So
And
crazy.
Crime 101 at number 10, 36 million. Not good for its budget.
No.
You win some, you lose
It is
some.
a great movie. It's available now on Amazon Prime.
Yeah,
I
so
think.
that's kind of I think quarterly we'd like to look at the numbers, just kind of make sure the theatrical landscape is, seeing where it's at. And
Yeah, and we've got a
just be doing better this year.
huge summer, which we'll
Yes.
get into a
We
little
got
bit.
a huge winter too.
Huge winter. But see, the thing with some of those is that box office will go to 2027 though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dune and Doomsday specifically. Definitely.
Yeah.
And
Jumanji.
Yeah. Yep. As well.
Yeah.
That as well. Yeah. Some of that will go towards 27, but some of it will open at the end of 26 and boost those December numbers. So
that's right.
It kind of levels off a little bit. CinemaCon is next week.
Yes.
And
explain to the people what CinemaCon is.
Well, CinemaCon is not Comic-Con. Let's just go ahead and say it that way. It is a con. It was originally called Show West until they changed the name around 2011-ish. It takes place in Vegas every year. Studios come out, and it's for press, but it's mainly for theater owners. So people who are a part of Cinema United, which is formerly the National Association of Theater Owners, but they wanted to get away from NATO, I guess.
Yeah.
I actually like National Association of Theater Owners better than Cinema United, but I get why they'd want to change it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
They're just a bunch of panels put on to woo the theater owners and press. First panel of the week this week is going to be Angel Studios, Sony Classic Pictures, and Studio Canal. That day, same day, Sony Pictures at night, the first night, April 13th. So Tuesday night, or Monday night, I mean. You're going to get a Sony Pictures panel from 9:30 to 11:30 Eastern time. But in Vegas time, obviously it's 6:30. You got a Neon panel the next day and a Warner Brothers panel the next day. They're going to be showing Forgotten Island, the new DreamWorks film, to people on April 15th to open the day. And then you'll get a Universal Pictures and Focus Feature panel, which obviously Universal owns Focus Features. So that makes sense. Then you get an Amazon MGM Studios panel, which I love to see because they just had a huge hit. Obviously, Crime 101 was not. It was a bomb. Mercy was, I think, barely a bomb, but it was lost money, I think.
Yeah.
But Project Hail Mary has been such a huge hit that hopefully that keeps them, forward looking and committed to theatrical and what it takes to have a theatrical success.
I think
final day, April 16th. That is your Thursday night.
The big one.
Thursday. Paramount first, and then Disney at night, 5:30 Eastern time, and that's gonna be huge. The Hollywood Reporter said that they were kind of looking to pull out all the stops on that panel. So,
and this is going to be this is basically going to be like the big coming out party for Josh tomorrow. So he'll probably come out, do a quick little speech, and then hand it to like his studio heads. So you'll get Feige out there. This is also going to be big for Filoni. So Filoni will probably come out there.
His first CinemaCon where he is the head of Lucasfilm.
Head of Lucasfilm.
Co-head, but
Now, I don't know if his co-head will be out there. I think he's probably going to be the face of the studio. The person that he's co-head with, she's more of like on the business side of things anyways. So I think they'll have Filoni come out. He'll come out in his trademark hat that we all love as Star Wars fans. And that's going to be a huge. Disney is going to rock it. I mean, they've got Doomsday, but then they've also got Mando and Grogu. I guarantee you they'll do some Starfighter stuff also, even though that's like 2 years away.
Especially with how hot Gosling is right now.
They'll bring Gosling out. It's a
video at least.
And Levy. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be some stuff said about Starfighter, but then they've also got Toy Story 5, which that's going to be massive. You've got another Walt Disney animated classic coming in November, I believe. I think it's November. I'm not exactly sure. It's the fourth quarter is. They've got some.
I can't remember the name, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's not the cat one. It's not Gato, is it?
No, Gato is Pixar. and this is Hexed.
Hexed. That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then Devil Wears Prada 2. I mean, there's some big stuff that Disney's going to be touting. So
and Doomsday is a huge part of that, obviously.
Yeah. Now, that'd be awesome if like all the people that had not been announced via Chair Watch came out, like all the unannounced, like if you had 15 actors on stage or something, the unannounced Chair Watch people.
I would like them to not do that, because at this point, I kind of want them to save some surprises for the theater.
The one thing that I really want them to do is say that they're moving it to December 11th. That's what I really want them to do, but I don't think they're going to. I think it's gotten close enough.
It's funny because Bellany on the Town, I think it was, pretty much said that like Bellany and a lot of people, and including myself, and a lot of fans are like, why don't you just move up to the 11th? You got IMAX screens at that point.
It makes business sense.
And then you get a week removed. You know, obviously some people will go, oh, Disney looks weak here. But look, you just don't want two films with competing audiences opening against each other. Avengers would at least, you know, I think they'd win the opening weekend by a decent amount.
Right.
And I think they'd win overall. By a decent amount, if Win is making more money, you know, I mean that's
right,
a subjective thing. But but getting that 1 week cushion would help a lot, just because you'd be able to pull in a lot more that 1 week. And I just don't know why they don't want to do it. Bellany was saying pretty much the Disney guys are just like, we don't care. So
which is still dumb. I think they're feigning. I don't know. It's silly, but whatever.
Yeah.
Because now we really don't have anything coming out December 11th. I think there's like one movie coming out December 11th.
Yeah, which is normal in front of an Avengers film. I mean, as you famously know, The Curse of La Llorona came out.
That's right.
Avengers Endgame.
That's right. That's right. The only thing that I don't even know if it's actually coming out, is The Man with the Bag, which I believe is the Arnold Schwarzenegger Santa Claus movie. I do not know if that's actually coming out though.
I do not have that on my calendar. The calendar currently has nothing on the 11th, which obviously stuff will form on the calendar over time. But
and The Man with the Bag could be an Amazon Prime movie for all I know. I know that they shot it for Amazon, I think, and it's 2 years old. Like they shot this thing 2 years ago. So
I've got Violent Night 2 on the 4th.
Yes, that's what's on the 4th. Yes. Yeah. I'm excited about that. David Harbour. But and it needs to stay there, so at least has a couple weeks to make some money, because I think that's an actually really good release date for Violent Night 2. It's actually going to do pretty good now. I mean, for a couple weeks. It's not
too expensive. That's a good release date. Yeah,
I'm sure they upped the budget a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, you just don't want to do too much on that series. It's not got huge potential. Being rated R, especially. All right.
Gosh.
So,
all right.
You want to get into the dreaded conversation?
Look, you're the one that picked it, so I think you should bring us this masterpiece that you chose for me to watch.
So, off the shelf pick this week, I picked From Justin to Kelly, which led me down an interesting rabbit hole, because I did not know who Justin was.
Oh, you did not? Okay.
No, I did not. I knew who Kelly was. Kelly Clarkson. It led me down the rabbit hole figuring out why this thing was made, which is very interesting. So the cultural conversation here. So American Idol actually at one point became appointment television in our household.
Oh, big time. It was a television. Yeah, we watched every episode of it.
Yeah, I did not watch season 1 for sure. Or at least I don't consciously remember watching season 1. But I do remember watching later seasons.
Yeah.
And I remember when I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. The guy who's doing the Queen stuff right now. When Adam Lambert was a contestant on there, was a hot contestant on there at one point. I remember some of the embarrassing auditions that were really funny. But
that was a big
interestingly, this movie, directed by Robert Iskov, if that's how you say it, I don't know, was contractually obligated for the first season of American Idol. They were going to take the winner and the runner-up and make a feature film with those two people. A rushed feature film, by the way, is what I read, that they pretty much had not a lot of time, and then they made it on the fly, and you can tell.
Oh yeah, no, you totally can. I mean, it reminds me of like those beach blanket bingo movies, like with Annette Funicello back in the day.
Some of the acting in this film is atrocious.
Oh God, it's bad.
Some of the dialogue in this film is really atrocious.
Yeah, it's all horrible. His friends, Justin's friends are idiots.
You got the dorky friend, and you've got the dorky computer friend, and then you've got the bro jock, not jock, but bro friend
who's setting up all the parties, trying to make all this money, and that guy.
Yeah, and constantly getting caught by the cop, who then at the end becomes a love interest.
Yes, so dumb, so dumb. I'm off duty. That's so dumb.
I had a tough time getting through this film. I never paused it. I just had a tough time watching this.
Luckily, it was only an hour and 23 minutes.
Yes, I think mine said an hour 21, or maybe it was hour 23.
I don't know. I'm just pulling that number out of my butt.
It was 80 something minutes.
Yeah.
Which I was so happy about because it was awful. Now, some backstory here, really quickly. You were assigned this film on episode 44 of the Deucecast movie show.
Yes, because I lost the Oscar balloting at the time.
Then you won the next year on episode 92.
Yes.
And because you won,
yes,
you got out of having to watch this movie.
I think so. I can't remember the exact.
That's what credit to Aussie Nate. That's what his historical Excel sheet that I can access tells me.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So I colluded with Rhett a few weeks ago.
You did.
And said, wouldn't this be fun? We invited Rhett to the show.
I didn't know we
did. A litany of excuses for why he couldn't come on. I'm not going to quote him to save him, but
yeah. I think he just ended up going to see the drama or something.
I don't blame him. But this is the kind of film that, like, I understand why if someone saw this film, they'd go, I hate musicals.
Oh, yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
It's terrible, and it's mixed awfully. I mean, look, most musicals are not done live on set. I understand that. But a lot of people will go out of their way to mix these things with room tones and, so it kind of sounds a little natural, or, to capture kind of that ambiance of the area that they're in, to make it a little more natural sounding with the film. This, I mean, as soon as they kick into song, it sounds like they're in a studio booth recording the song. It doesn't sound good. Not saying the voices don't sound good. Some of the voices are. Kelly's voice is good.
And Anika Nani Rose, she's actually she becomes Tiana. I mean, she's the voice of Tiana and the singing voice of Tiana, Princess of the Frog. So that's kind of like what I knew her from. I didn't even know she was in this garbage. But there is one song, and I'm only gonna say one. It's just her and Kelly in a duet.
Okay.
And it actually sounds okay.
Is that the one with the pool?
I believe so.
After she thinks that he's blown her off because of the text being sent to her.
I wish I could tell you that I remember the
for him. I mean,
this film, but
well, her friend is jealous. So
her
friend is jealous because she wants to get with Justin,
right?
But Justin wants Kelly.
That's right.
And so she sabotages Justin's texting and sends him to a different location.
Yeah.
And then Kelly gets mad, and we don't resolve this until like right at the end of the film.
I know. Yeah, because they find
out
the
friend just admits the whole plot and then brings Justin. I'm like, I don't know. I think that's kind of unrealistic. I think you wouldn't be friends with this person anymore, and I don't think she would help you get back Justin.
They were just trying to wrap it up. They were like, this thing's going on too long. We need to wrap this movie up. We've got to fix everything by the end of this movie. It was horrible, though.
There is a scene where I feel like, and maybe I missed something. I thought I backed it up a little bit. I didn't pause it, but I thought I backed it up to kind of confirm, but I also didn't really want to back it up too much and spin any longer in this film. But when they are at that party, so the movie opens with a beach scene where they meet and have their kind of dance that you sent a picture of into the Deucecast Discord.
Yes.
With your funny message.
Yes.
the second scene they have together where they're at that party and they are walking around trying to find each other, basically, it seems
Okay.
like.
Yeah.
It feels like the beginning of that song, they start psychically singing to each other, and then
Oh.
they start moving their mouths and going.
Oh, wow. I did not catch that.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not going to go
Psychically
confirm.
singing.
I'm not. Well, like the voices were like singing, but their mouths weren't moving at first.
That could have just been bad editing or something. I mean, for
Maybe
all
they
we
didn't
know.
get the take that they needed for that, and then they just went,
Who
"Well,
knows?
it's done," you know.
Yeah. I never felt like Justin really was that good of a singer in this. There was maybe a couple of moments where he was okay, but for the most part, I can see why he lost American Idol, because he was not a great singer.
My understanding is a lot of people felt like Justin got kind of a campaign behind him.
Oh yeah, he was popular
and made it further into the show than maybe talent-wise he should have.
Right? Yeah, he was popular. I do remember
but
that.
I did not watch that season, so I cannot confirm that. But
people
I know say that.
Probably watched it, but I barely remember it. It was so long ago.
But Kelly in this movie, she's not a great actress, but singing-wise, I mean, you can tell. I mean, she just got such a range.
Yeah.
And she sounds great.
She still does. She still sounds great. She's still a great singer.
Now, Justin in real life, as Aussie Nate pointed out in the Discord, is
unfortunately
going through a divorce now.
Sorry, Justin.
After 15 years of marriage, so
that's too bad. Well,
this is I guess a prescient episode.
I don't think that Kelly is married right now. maybe they're gonna hook up at some point. I don't know.
And then we get from Justin to Kelly too.
Oh God, no. Okay, never mind. I don't want it to happen. No, I don't want it to happen. Good grief. This was painful.
I looked at the box office on this film, and I don't think they're going to be making a sequel. And I think I know why they didn't do further ones with future contestants, as it made 4.9 million on a budget of 12. So
I'm sure that at the time, Simon Cowell and I think the other producer, Simon Fuller, they probably were thinking that they were going to do this every year. Like whomever the top two contestants are, assuming they were like a male and a female and they could do some type of romance type movie with them, or this was probably they were trying to start a movie franchise. But
what they should have done is do a really cheap Roger Corman-esque movie on really cheap shoddy sets, and then every year just reuse those sets,
reuse the same ones over and over again,
and only put it on TV. Don't put it in theaters, because how is this a theatrical movie? It looks like a direct-to-home video movie.
It looks horrible. You're right. I mean, I don't understand why it wasn't. I guess
that's just the production value.
Yeah, they just didn't want to put the money into it, I guess, but I don't know. Oh, it was bad.
Even at 12 million, I feel like you could make it look better, but
it was painful watching that. It was really painful logging it into Letterboxd. Like that was the most painful aspect of the whole thing.
I have some friends who are not connected to the show, though some of them know about it peripherally.
Yeah.
That I don't think listen yet, but that watch my Letterboxd sometimes and comment on what I'm watching. And I'm wondering when they're going to comment on that.
They'll probably be like, "Why in the heck?" It was bad,
what is
man.
that? All right.
But if you do find yourself watching From Justin to Kelly, listen to the one song that Kelly and Anika Nani Rose are singing together, and you'll probably say to yourself, "Oh, I can see how she eventually became Tiana, because Anika has a really lovely voice, and it actually does come out a little bit in From Justin to Kelly." So let's go. Gosh, we've really got to cleanse our palate here.
That was a good. I'm just gonna say $9 well spent.
I hope I can't. Yeah, I will never do that to you, Garrison. Mostly because my shelf does not have. Well, I don't know. I can't say that it doesn't have horrible movies on it, because
I'll donate this real quick to the library.
Yeah, or something. Yeah, give it to the library for real. This one's hopefully going to be fun. It's my penultimate Arrow film. So I've got this film and one more, and then we are out of the Arrowverse, if you will.
Okay.
And moving on to the next boutique label, which I think Blue Underground, if I'm going alphabetically, will be my next one, maybe. But this one I'm excited. I don't know why I've never seen it. It's directed by Rennie Harlan, written by Shane Black. The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Okay.
Very excited about it. Just kind of added it to my collection recently, just because I got a really good deal, and I knew it was going to have the slipcover with it, and kind of the premise of the film. Well, I don't want to read the whole thing, but it's basically Samantha Kane is the character's name. She's played by Gina Davis. She awakens on a beach, pregnant and with no memory. Now she's a school teacher living in an idyllic small town life with a daughter and boyfriend who love her. She's almost given up ever finding out about her previous life. That and then from there, crazy action stuff happens because her previous life comes back to haunt her. Samuel L. Jackson is also in this. This is, I would say, in the days that Rennie Harlan was probably respected more than he is now. Now he's directing.
You don't love The Strangers Chapter 1, 2, and 3?
He directed 3 Strangers films somehow. He
Back
still
to back to
seems
back.
like, I did listen to an interview with him recently because he was doing all the Strangers movies. He sounds like a really nice guy.
Yeah.
Like and very passionate about filmmaking. So at least he hasn't lost that edge about him. But the thing that I'm most attracted to this film by is the fact that it's written by Shane Black. So this is filling a hole for me as far as Shane Black is concerned. I have seen most of his stuff, but I hadn't seen this one. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited about it as well. It's a Shane Black film I haven't seen.
Yeah.
And so that's big for me. There are actually several films that he's written that I have not seen.
Yeah.
Either due to my father not caring for those films and never showing them to me, or just, maybe he hasn't seen it and hasn't shown it to me. But he showed me a lot of Shane Black films growing up. So that was a person who became kind of big in my early film life.
Yeah.
Movies like Kiss Kiss Bang Bang were really big.
So good.
And obviously Lethal Weapon.
Lethal Weapon.
Fantastic. Yep. So do you want to get to a film that maybe we can have a longer conversation about than From Just a View?
Yes. But man, it's going to be really hard to talk about this movie without spoiling it.
I think, and we talked about this last week, I think we got to.
It's been 2 weeks.
Alert,
yeah.
We've got to have a discussion that has some spoilers in this.
I think so. Because the marketing of the film was done so well that it didn't spoil pretty much anything about the movie.
Yeah, well, spoiler alert, I'm going to say again, but when there were articles coming out about school shooting
drama, by the
way. Yeah, the drama 2026, written and directed by Christopher Borgley, something
like that. Yeah, the guy that did Dream Scenario.
When there were articles coming out from TMZ and several other places saying something about, school shooting advocates, or not advocates for school shooting.
No.
Gun, whatever advocates. I'm blanking on the term. That they thought this movie was misguided, not, portraying something in a light that they didn't like. I was like, I'm so confused watching the trailer and what this has to do with school shootings.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's interesting.
And then you get to, it's not that far into the film, maybe 10, 15 minutes in, this dinner conversation between Rob Pattinson, Zendaya, Elena Ham's character, and I'm blanking on the other guy's name, but I can see him in my head.
He's been around a little bit.
Mamadou Athi, he plays Mike. He's the best man in the wedding. Elena Haim plays Rachel. Zendaya plays Emma, and Robert plays Charlie. They get to talking about their worst kind of things they've ever done in their life.
Yeah, what's the worst things that they've ever done in life? Yeah, exactly.
And we go around the table, and Mike, Charlie's best man, talks about the fact that he threw his, basically his girlfriend who was being attacked by, I think it was a cat or what was it at this point? I can't
Right.
even
It was a
remember.
cat. It was a cat.
And he
You're right.
threw her in front of him as a
Yeah,
shield,
threw his girlfriend in front of, yeah.
which is
I
just
thought
funny,
it was funny. Yeah.
Elena Haim, Rachel starts talking about the fact that she locked a slow child in an RV's
Yes.
closet, that she was being taken into the forest to, being shown this abandoned RV, and she
Yeah.
locked him in the closet and then left him there because she was scared. And
that one
she
shocked everybody. They were so
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you did that.
Well, and the interesting thing is the way she tells the story to me. This is really interesting in the moment, because she says that she didn't know what happened to him. And then when they
Right.
pressed her on it, she goes, oh, well, they found him the next day.
Yeah.
And I would have told people, if it went on longer than that.
Yeah.
But she initially said she didn't know what happened, which I
Yeah.
would have felt was weird if she actually said that, because how would it not have become a story in that town?
Yeah, exactly.
If the kid had disappeared, how would she never know what happened on that? So
Right.
I don't know why she says that.
It's
It
strange.
does make me feel less about her character, that she's just kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, I'm not in love with her character anyways. I mean,
Oh yeah, as the film goes on,
as
there
the film
becomes
goes
more
on.
reason
Yeah.
to not like her. And then Pattinson's character Charlie is pushed on it. He says he cyberbullied someone, but really won't go on further about it. The kid had to move away. I've seen some people posit that maybe he's just lying to come up with a story here, and that's why it's
because he as we're introduced to his character, he's a little bit of, well, he doesn't have, it seems like he doesn't have much self-esteem. And as far as like when we see him at first at the beginning of the film, but he's also a little odd. Like there's something just odd about him. Yeah.
So when I read that school shooting stuff, and then the movie opens, and you have this kind of opening scene where Charlie is walking up to her and being kind of weird.
Yeah, he's just a kind of a kooky guy.
I understand kind of coming up with a plan to come up to a girl and trying to have a good first impression.
Right.
But he was, I don't know, he was going a little far in some areas.
He went too far and lied about reading a book that she was reading. I mean,
some guys have done that kind of stuff. Maybe not as far as he did, but
doesn't seem to work often.
No, and he was speaking to her in her deaf ears, so she wasn't hearing him. And then they reframed the conversation. This is an important thing. They reframed the conversation like, oh, hey, let's meet again for the first time, kind of thing.
Exactly. That comes up.
Becomes becomes a point later on in the film. But Emma then talks about her story, about how she thought about committing a mass shooting,
right?
But did not go ahead with it. And then we get a kind of awkward moment as Rachel kind of goes off on her and says, well, why did you not do it? Or, something to that effect. And, my cousin got shot in a school shooting, and how dare you? And it becomes this ethical question in your own head as a viewer of, okay, so Emma went out, thought she was maybe going to commit a school shooting, got really far along in the plan, created diaries of why she did it, and pretty much got to almost doing it, but decided to not do it as another shooting happened in town. And this is my opinion on what happens here. She sees, these people and how that shooting has affected them.
Yeah.
And starts to get attention from that, and starts to join these advocacy groups against guns and gun control and that kind of thing. And I think at that point she gains some of that empathy and some friendship and connection in that moment, and it drives her away from that moment.
Yeah.
She was in a pretty dark place, and not knowing about that kind of thing until about a week before your marriage, I can understand disquieting a person, I guess. Trying to come up with a good way of putting that, but I can understand why Charlie would be in a timid position where he'd want to talk about this more. I think if this gets brought up much earlier, that Charlie and her are able to have a conversation, and we don't get this whole drama.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But the problem is that it happens a week before their marriage. And so now they're having these conversations about why she did it. Maybe does she need to get therapy now? Did she ever get therapy about this? And the interesting thing that this film does is start to show you subjective moments that we don't know if they're fully real or not.
Right.
Now, like Charlie having this conversation with Mike off, where Mike's like, "You got to run away. You got to get out of here. You got to leave the country." Now that did not happen, I'm pretty sure, but that's what Emma is now thinking in her mind as things seem to be self-destructing around her. Is she's thinking, "Oh, he's just going to leave now," because that's what people do.
Yeah, and she's also put in a position where she's going back to a place that she thought she would never have to go back to again.
Yes,
just like as far as
that's why she never brought it up, because she didn't want to revisit this.
Which begs the question, and I guess this would just make for a boring movie, but begs the question, like, why would she have even chose to share that? I mean,
well, and the way they explain that in the film is that she had been drinking some,
right?
So she was a little more loose in terms of what she was talking about, and she allowed herself to say that. You know, and that's I'll go with the filmmaker on that.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's asking not a lot of the audience, but a little, where you just have to sort of shrug your shoulders, like, okay, I guess she's going to share this, and the snowball begins at that point. I mean, because once you share something like that, and not only share something like that, but then have Rachel react the way that she does, then it's just going to continue to get more just worse and worse from that point on, just because everybody then is putting their own spin on what they think happened, and it just gets, and Charlie gets up in his head about it, and because he's kind of an odd person, he starts doing some really odd things. Just stuff with the girl at work. Yeah. Just really poor decisions.
Well, and that's a conversation. So Charlie makes a mistake in kissing his coworker,
right?
Because he gets so frustrated, and he is weird.
This movie is so dark. It is the darkest of comedies, really. The way that the woman just like prepares herself for him after all he does is kiss her, and she's just like and she's like chewing gum, looking at her phone. All right, do this. If we're gonna do this, let's do this. Like, so she has no, I don't know. It just bothered me that
they had a prior conversation about her being with a man who was really nice, and then a man who treated her like crap. She cheated on the nice man.
She likes being treated like crap.
Yeah. So then Charlie acted out and started to treat her like crap while she was in a good relationship, and that's her issue, obviously. And Charlie's issue for doing that. Don't get me wrong. And I also don't want to fully absolve Emma, because obviously, the stuff she was doing wasn't great. But I do think 15 years later that, you are a very different person at that point, hopefully, and that you've matured and changed. You understand why what you thought about doing and almost did was very wrong. And, but Rachel starts getting into like thought crime stuff, where she's like, you should be arrested for this. It's like,
it's just,
you can't arrest somebody for not doing something.
The every single character in this, except for maybe Mike, kind of takes things to extremes a little bit. Like even, Emma gets to a point where she's had too much because of everything is so elevated around her, and she's had enough of it, and she finally just snaps a little bit and leaves the situation, basically. Part of this film, the thing with knowing that you're seeing an A24 movie is you know that nothing is ever going to be as it seems. At least for the most part. They have very few straightforward movies that they release. They're always a bit quirky. I thought that they were going to go way farther than they did with this, and I thought Emma was going to snap and like kill everybody at the wedding. Like, that's what I thought was going to happen.
I'm glad they didn't do that.
See, if they had done that,
I think that might have hurt the film for me.
I think I would have enjoyed it more. Because it just goes to the extreme of what the base like lack of morality that it would take for somebody to do that.
I get it, but
it was
I
going down that road. I thought.
I do think establishing that she has changed is an important part of this film.
No, you're right.
And that she isn't that same person is an important part of this film, because Charlie doesn't fully know that, and that's a struggle for him.
Yeah,
you know, he's trying to drill this down because he wants to make sure the person he's marrying isn't a crazy psychopath who would go out and shoot a bunch of people.
Right.
And I think the important thing is that she isn't. But that Charlie has to come to terms with that over this week.
Right. She isn't, certainly at the beginning of the film, like first 2 acts, she's not. But because of the pressure building, like you do wonder, like as a viewer, you wonder if she's going to snap to the point where because I swear that there was a scene in the movie that flashed up really quickly at one point of a bunch of people at a wedding being shot.
It wasn't that quick. It lingered on it.
Okay.
It happened.
But it was in a weird
subjective spot. Charlie looking at the future subjectively, like we see Emma doing at times. Right. And so we get points like that.
So what I thought, because of the way that the movie was time jumping, because we see Emma a lot as a kid, I thought that we were seeing a future thing that was actually going to happen. Like I that's what I thought was going on there.
You were seeing them playing out scenarios in their head, I think. And it makes me wonder how much is real. And what I mean by that is the flashbacks. So at one point we see Zendaya going after a car and almost really violently starting to kick towards it. And I wonder how much of that was real. I could see her being upset about it, but did she actually kick that car? Or is that Charlie? Is that Charlie subconsciously going after learning this about his girlfriend or fiance, starting to look back on his past and go, oh, this person's really dangerous and violent.
Mm-hmm. I was under the impression that all the flashbacks are things that actually happened.
I think for the most part they are.
Yeah.
We see her kind of jump around in her history, but again, if you know about human memory, we don't actually fully remember.
No, I don't remember anything ever.
We have it's the Rashomon effect. We see what we want to see, and then we remember kind of pieces and pieces, and it fades away over time.
Or if you see a picture of something of like when you were a kid, you're like, oh, I remember that, but you really don't remember that.
Yeah,
you just think you do because you see a picture.
You don't photographically remember those events.
Most people don't.
You don't have an audio. You don't have an audio of those things being played out unless you recorded your whole life.
Right.
And that's tough to scrub through anyway. But there's a lot of subjectivity here, and I think the film is kind of playing with kind of our expectations, Charlie's expectations, Emma's expectations. All 3 of those expectations kind of really. I think Borgley is having some fun here. And
he's a weird guy. Like if you look at his filmography, he's directed some interesting movies.
I love the premise to his previous film, Dream Scenario.
I do too.
I did not love.
I don't think he landed it. Yeah, I don't think he landed it as well.
I think it doesn't end well. Yeah. I gave it a 3 out of 5 at the time. But I think this is a better film, and I think this lands better.
I really like coming out of it. Like immediately coming out of it, I was thinking to myself, "Oh man, I wish they would have just had her massacre everybody in that wedding." But
Mikey, are you okay?
No, but I was just like, this is an A24 movie. I thought that's what they were getting at. Like, I thought that's what was going to happen. Like, the thing that Rachel kept saying was going to happen, I thought was actually going to happen. Like, Rachel was like, this person is a killer. She was convinced of it.
And I think Rachel's your ultimate real bad guy.
No, she is. Totally.
She's not an she's not like sadistically evil, but she's not a good person.
No, she does not end up being a great person, which is a bummer because Mike seems like he's the only good person out of the 4 of them.
He's just a little bit of a wimp sometimes.
Yeah, he's just a little bit of a wimp or whatever. That all that being said, I mean, I think that to me, this continues to show how talented both Robert Pattinson and Zendaya are outside of the things that everybody equates them to. And that's always the difficult thing. Like when you've been in major franchises, people are always afraid to give you a chance outside of those major franchises. And I'm hoping that, well, Robert obviously has no problem taking risks. Like he's been in a lot of interesting films. Zendaya is the one who's only really been in a couple of different things every once in a while. Like most of her career is stuck in these somewhat TV series like Euphoria or like, Dune, Spider-Man. Like she's been in just a lot of huge franchises. She had that one movie with John David Washington that was black and white, where it was just a couple that was yelling at each other the whole time.
Yeah.
That I wanted to say that was a good movie, but it was just kind of depressing, really.
I had fun with it. It was chronically online, and it took shots at a bunch of critics. And I thought it was funny.
Yeah, exactly.
It was kind of stupid, but
she goes to a different level in this movie that, like, I think that it's important that she keeps taking risks like this in her career and not being afraid to do stuff like this. Because she could easily play it safe and not ever do anything like this, but she's got to start, like, she's talented enough that she's got to start being in some award bait movies. Not that I'm saying that this one is an award bait movie, but she needs to, like, if she's going to get that Oscar, I mean, we need to see her in something award bait like.
I want to touch on the ending real quick, because to talk about A24.
Yeah.
I read from, this is sourced by a guy who went to test screening, so who knows if he's fully telling the truth, but I thought this was kind of interesting. The ending of the movie, Charlie gets headbutted by the boyfriend of the girl who
that's towards the ending.
He kissed. And Charlie is bloodied. Their wedding is ruined. He and Emma both leave the wedding separately, and they wound up meeting each other at the diner that they said they'd meet at after the wedding, before all this went on. And I thought it was a nice ending. It really works thematically with what happened. And yes, Charlie did something terrible. And I think if Emma wanted to leave him at that moment, she'd be totally right to. At the same time, they're both kind of weird, and each other's kind of weird. And I think that they did work well together. And that hopefully, hope Charlie never makes that kind of mistake again. But I liked that they kind of went back to square one, and she meets him again at the diner, basically.
Yeah, it was cute. I was surprised because it almost turned it into, that was a very romantic comedy moment.
Yeah.
And that's not what the movie is.
So apparently test screenings initially, that scene played out almost exactly until it cuts to the wide and Zendaya's not there.
Oh, it's all in his mind.
Yes.
Oh.
And not the whole movie.
Just that last scene.
Zendaya didn't meet him after the wedding.
Back. Yeah, okay.
And obviously test audiences don't like that. They usually don't like that kind of thing.
No, they don't. I mean, not general pop, not gen pop.
But obviously Borgley agreed to shift it that way, and to me, it's what is the feedback you get, and how convincing is it?
He definitely doesn't seem like the type of director who would have made that choice, to have them meet cute at the end like that.
But it did work for me.
Because of the previous moments where they had done the let's meet each other again thing, let's try this again thing, it works in that sense.
Yeah.
But I can see why Borgley would have chose the other route.
Because maybe they shot both of them and then tested both of them. I don't know, but that guy saw that ending. So,
because if I'm Emma and I've just gone through all of this horrible stuff, do I really want to give it a shot with this guy?
But at the same time, Charlie has treated her probably the best out of anyone, except for that terrible cheating on her, essentially.
Yeah, that was definitely a weak moment on his part.
And I could understand if she walks away at that moment. I do not blame her at all. I I think if you cheat on someone, normally it's probably not a good idea to continue that relationship. But
what did the cinema score end up being on this?
that is a great question. I know it was in the B range, but I don't want to say it without looking it up.
Yeah, that's
so the
probably
drama
a B minus.
Let's see, drum roll for me, and it's B. So
it's a B. Okay, it's because it's interesting because they certainly did not market the movie They marketed the movie like it was a rom-com.
I think for this type of movie, a B is a win.
No, I agree. That's why I'm saying like Gen Pop going into thinking that they're going to see a rom-com because of the marketing. I wonder if there was some frustration after seeing the movie that it ended on a happy note, but it was not a rom-com journey through the film. It was an A24 type movie journey. So I dug it, but I also wanted the A24 ending, which would have been like super violent, something happening. That's the A24 ending, generally speaking.
In the one sense, A24 is wanting to get more commercial. They want to be a bigger studio.
You're right.
But I have to imagine Borgley agreed to this. I don't think they like to upset talent at A24.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Like a bigger studio would just say, no, the ending needs to be this.
Yeah.
He probably had some conversations. Again, they probably shot multiple endings, and
what's interesting is
what worked best.
He does not seem like he was out on the interview circuit for this, at least that I could find.
Yeah, it was mostly Zendaya and
Pattinson. He did not seem like Borgley doesn't seem like the type that wants to put himself out there much. I don't remember him doing any interviews for Dream Scenario when it came out.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a big deal because it was in the midst of what everybody was saying was maybe like the third or fourth renaissance of Nick Cage, because he had Pig come out and then Dream Scenario was closely thereafter. And he's continued to capitalize on his fourth decade of an actor getting some interesting roles at least, but also still doing horrible movies in between.
I liked this score, by the way. Daniel Pemberton did the score.
Yeah, it was good.
And it's light. It's not like overpowering in the film, but I thought it was good throughout.
Yeah, there was a lot of, as typical in many A24 movies, there's a soundtrack as well. So there's a lot of music in the film as well as the score itself. So I liked the movie. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5. I mean, it's not. I don't know by the end of the year if it'll make my top 10 or anything like that. But I think that they did a good job. I think it was a well-made movie. I think that the conceit of the film is interesting enough, and you've got two really talented actors at the top of their game, really. Showing what they can do.
I would like to see a good movie like this. I give it a 3 out of 5 as well. A good movie like this that makes you think, because it makes you sit there and kind of go, okay, well, what would I do?
What would I do? Yeah.
I think a movie like this, I hope it succeeds. And I think it's on track to right now.
I think it's going to do fine. Yeah. I mean, I think the budget was probably a little higher than normal just because of the talent, but I mean,
yeah, but it's not huge. It's in like in the 20s, 28 or something, which is, I think, good enough to make some money on. And I'd love to see Borgley tackle kind of some more stuff like this. I enjoyed this more than Dream Scenario, really.
No, I'm with you.
I was excited to walk out of that theater feeling good.
So speaking of walking out of theater feeling good, what is our focus going to be next week?
It's going to be Lee Cronin's The Mummy, which does not star Brendan Fraser. I hope you know that, Mikey.
No, it does not. Does not.
I hope you weren't thinking to go and see Brendan Fraser in theaters next week.
No, they really want. Was it Focus that was sending all that, or just from the Mummy?
It's Blumhouse.
Oh, it's from Blumhouse. Okay.
Yeah, because Blumhouse did it in conjunction with WB. If you must know, the Brendan Fraser Mummy films are Universal films because it's a remake of the Universal Mummy series, really. Though it is not a direct remake, it's a more of a horror comedy.
Oh, is this not a Universal release?
No, it's a WB Blumhouse release.
Oh, I thought. Okay.
Blumhouse does do Universal films.
Yeah, they do.
Which is why they did Invisible Man and they did Wolfman.
Okay,
so confusingly,
confusingly,
they're doing The Mummy, which is a WB film.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, I did not
which
put
is
two and two together there.
part of the reason why they're screaming about Brendan Fraser not being in it, because they don't even have the rights to that kind of thing.
No, they would get in. Yeah.
And the Brendan Fraser movie is being made and is going to be put out in 2028.
And
so.
can people that see this preview not see that there's no way Brendan Fraser would?
I think people aren't watching the preview. They're going, "Oh, the Mummy's coming out soon."
Right. Yeah.
And I think that was happening in the test screenings. People were going to see the Mummy test screening, and they were literally going like, "This isn't funny, and this doesn't have Brendan Fraser." And so that's my understanding.
So that's why they
they're
added Lee Cronin, but he's unfortunately not a big enough name.
No.
Where it's I think it's confusing people even more.
Yeah.
By putting his name in front of it, because they're like, who? What? Why?
Lee Cronin, the guy who did Evil Dead Rise
or whatever. Nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
It's tough to mark. It's a tough sell. I mean,
James Wan produced The Mummy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, what do you put there, unfortunately?
So yeah, that'll be our focus. I can't say that I'm necessarily super excited to see this movie, but I will. It will be well made. It will be a well-made film. I don't think that it'll be some, I don't know, horrible take on it. But
it kind of reminds me of Bring Her Back.
Yes, that's the vibes I'm getting
from
as
the trailers.
Well. God,
there's like a videotape aspect and a girl that goes missing, and yeah, just kind of reminds me of that.
It's going to be hard to watch, but I'll go see it.
Yeah, Bring Her Back is hard to watch.
God, Bring Her Back was rough. Oh gosh.
Not in a bad way, but yeah.
It's just rough. Yeah, it's just rough. But anyways.
Where can people find you on social media?
Yes, definitely. I am at the Michael Nip on X. I am also on Letterboxd as Michael Nip, I think. I don't think it's I think it's just Michael Nip. You can look me up that way. But I'm also on our Discord server, which I will let Garrison tell us about.
I am on Twitter and Instagram at GRyfun3, GRYFUN3, on Letterboxd at GRyfun, GRYFUN. You can find Cinema Debrief at Cinema Debrief on Twitter and Instagram. You can also email us, cinemadebriefpod@gmail.com, and ask for Discord access or even send us letters. We've had a couple of people do that so far, Jeremy and David. Next week, you can hear us cover The Long Kiss Goodnight and Lee Cronin's The Mummy.